Hey, today we're making something that is absolutely delicious, low carb, and something that a lot of people would love to have during Thanksgiving. We're doing a green bean casserole, which my husband told me this is the only thing he wants to eat 24/7. He absolutely drools over this and loves it. Back. So we're gonna make this today in my low carb kitchen. All right, I just started steaming my green beans. I like them a little firm, more so than overly tender, but that's the way I'm cooking it. Cook them the way you like to cook them. When they're done, they're gonna come off, and I'm gonna mix them with some bacon. Yes, bacon, I love bacon. But anyway, I wanted to sort of go over the ingredients for the sauce, and the sauce is actually gonna be cooked on the stove. And the reason for that is this guy, which is I'm using full fat cream cheese, and I'm using about 4.5 to 5 ounces of it. I'm also going to be adding in some regular cheese, some cheddar cheese, and some grated cheddar cheese and grated Parmesan. I've got some chicken broth that's going to go in there. There's a lot of flavor here, but a part of that flavor is going to be some sauteed onions and some garlic that I've already minced. Part of it is going to be healthy fat. It's going to be my butter. You don't have to use butter. Since I cooked in bacon, I cooked it on the pan instead of in the stove. I would have rendered the bacon fat that way. But I'm going to use butter instead. That's okay. I've got pink Himalayan salt. I got black pepper. I have a heaping teaspoon of Dijon mustard, half a lemon. I'm going to use the liquid from that. And then I also have some Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to use a little bit of that. I want a smoky flavor, so I'm using some liquid smoke. And I'm using box wine, a Chardonnay. And when you do cook with wine, it's always best to go small, because then otherwise you just got a bottle open. Although you can always drink the bottle. Just count the carbs if you do that. So with that, while my beans are steaming, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the sauce over at the stove. All right, my butter is all melted. You see it bubbling. I have this over a medium heat. And I'm just going to go ahead and saute the onions in the butter for about a minute or two. I just want them softened. All right, the onions are pretty soft. I'm going to go ahead and add my minced garlic. I'm only using 1 garlic clove. I'm going to mix that in there, and I'm going to saute this now for about a minute. Mix it all up, break apart that garlic. And it's fragrant. All right, garlic's been on for a minute. I'm adding the juice from half a lemon. Always tip just in case. Got that. Now I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of wine. Again, I'm using a white wine. I'm using a Chardonnay. You want something dry. And what you're going to do, you're going to let this cook until the alcohol goes out, and that's about a minute. It doesn't take long. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and add my broth. I'm going to let it heat up one more time before I add in the cream cheese. You really want that cheese to melt and break apart, so you want the broth took down the temperature. I'm going to bring it back up. So I took the beans off. As you can see, my broth and my mixture right here is very hot. I'm going to go ahead and add in the cream cheese. When you do the cream cheese, that's a pretty thin piece, but I'm breaking it up. You want to, I cut it into small squares, and I should add it's at room temperature, or at least I let it come up to room temperature. So it's been sitting out for about an hour before I cook. So I'm going to start breaking it up. It's getting even softer as we're in here, and I'm going to stir. And basically what I'm doing now is I'm just melting the cream cheese. Okay, I'm going to turn the temperature down slightly because I don't want it as bubbly. I remember I had it at a medium, so I'm just turning it down just a notch or so. But what I'm going to do now, as you can see, it's gotten a little bit thicker. The cream cheese is melted. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my cheese. And like I said, I'm using Parmesan and cheddar. I do have a little bit of the cheddar reserved because I'm going to use that as part of my topping. But right now, I'm just going to do this and melt, and it's melting pretty fast. You can see it's pretty thick, which again is what I want. But I want to make sure the cheddar and the Parmesan are pretty much melted before I start adding in the other ingredients. So now what I'm going to add, everything is all melted, all set. I'm going to go ahead and add my mustard. So here's the Worcestershire going in, and then a few squirts of the liquid smoke. And this is really what helps give it a very smoky, oniony taste to these 2 ingredients. Okay, got my green beans in here. They look really good. I got adding my bacon. Get in there. And I'm using about 6 slices of bacon, roughly. If you want to use more, because, you know, who doesn't want to use more bacon? Go right ahead. So I went ahead and just sort of mixed this together. I'm now going to go ahead, grab my sauce, and I'm going to pour my sauce, my cheese sauce in here. I'm going to start mixing it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add my salt and pepper to it. Mix that all in. Mix that really good. I should say that this would work, you know, if you don't like green beans, use it with cauliflower, use it with broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, whatever you'd like. Just pick a veggie that's low in carbs and high in fiber. It smells really good. I'm going to go ahead and get this in the baking dish, and then we're going to work on the topping with the secret ingredient. All right, I've already gone ahead and added the extra cheese I have for the top of my green bean casserole. But what I'm going to do for the topping is use pork rinds instead of flour-covered onions. Now, if you're freaking out by the pork rinds, don't. They're it's a low-carb hack. A lot of people use them as croutons. I do. They're crunchy. Best of all, there's no carbs to them, and you actually get a whole lot because they're so light. You just don't want to overdo it because you really can easily, like a potato chip, you can eat way too much of it. And all it is, it's fried pork skin, so don't let that freak you out, but it is what it is. First of all, is I'm going to go ahead, I have to smash the pork rinds. You can't just leave them that big and fluffy. You could if you wanted to. I'm going to get out the air as much as possible. Hopefully I don't pop the bag. But you start smashing them. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my rolling pin, since it's heavy enough, because you really want crumbs. So that should do it. They're nice and small. All nice and crispy, little. There's some different sizes, but that's what you want. I'm going to go ahead and season it. And this is the seasoning that I made, and I showed you in the video, and I'll link to it before, but this is sort of my little house seasoning I use. I'm going to use half a teaspoon, which is a serving size. I'm going to use that. And then I'm also going to start with a half a teaspoon of avocado oil. It gives it a little bit of a nutty feel to it. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more. You know, just go ahead, use your fingers, and you mix it all together with the fat. I may even add a little bit more. So now what you do, so once they're oiled, is you just put these, you just sprinkle them on top. And they're just going to bake on top, and a nice thing, they stay crunchy, which is really, really nice. So this is going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes at 350. Actually, I'm going to put it in once my chicken thighs are out of the oven, but it's going to go in for 20 minutes, and it's going to come out and just be absolutely delicious and smell wonderful. All right, it's been 20 minutes. It's out of the oven. It smells delicious. It looks great. If you can't tell, I'm going to touch it just slightly, but the pork rinds, they stay nice and crisp, which is awesome. And we're having it with chicken tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and scoop out just a little bit for my dish so I can see what it looks like. Actually, I'm going to grab and brace the hot dish. Ooh, look at that creaminess. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it there. So that is how you make a low-carb green bean casserole. And it's a great dish, and you can definitely make this and have it for Thanksgiving. And you can play with it, add different vegetables if you prefer other than green beans, but it will knock your socks off. Having said that, if you like the video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see ya.